Hi, welcome to the Fringe Yoga Journal. Today's class is an earth element class. We'll be focusing on the areas of the body that literally hold us up: the feet, the legs, the alignment of the pelvis. Many of these aspects play a key role in all of the standing postures, and will help outside of this class, off of the mat, with things like posture, alignment, and even the digestive system. Please come onto your back to begin. So coming onto our backs, we're going to start with the knees bent, feet just hip width apart. You can even rock a few times from the heels to the balls of the feet so that you start to feel into the feet a little bit more. Pressing down with the four corners of the feet, so the big toe joint, little toe joint, and either side of the heels. Press down into the feet, lift the hips up. We don't need to go up too high here. All we're trying to do is get high enough to switch on just at the base of the sitting bones here, base of the glutes. So from here, if this is enough, hold this. And what I'd love for you to focus on is whether you can keep your knees parallel, keep the hips level, so one isn't going to drop lower than the other, and a little bit of a feeling of moving the heels out. And then from here, we can just take some little pulses up and down, every time pressing from the base of the glute to the heels. Inhale to lower, and then exhale to press down and go up. All the while drawing the navel towards the spine, cinching in around the waist, and moving with the breath. The next time, let's lower the hips all the way down. And take the feet a little bit wider. I'm going to drop the knees over to the right, so you might just want to move the arms out of the way. Drop the knees over towards the right, windscreen wiper twists. So it's like the knees are taking the arc of the windscreen wipers. Inhale, the knees lift up, and exhale, taking the knees over to the right. Inhale, the knees lift up, and exhale, taking them over to the left. Bring the knees up through center, and you can either bring your knees together and take a few rocks up and down the spine to come up to all fours, or roll to your favorite side and use your hand to press your way up. So coming into all fours, we're going to place the hands into the mat, spreading the fingers, and try to press down particularly through the root of the index finger and the root of the thumb. Take the right leg back behind you. A couple of little rocks just to open up the calf and the Achilles. And then we'll lift the leg up and try to keep the right hip facing towards the ground and the knee and the toes. Bend the knee so the sole of the foot faces towards the ceiling. A little pulse up, so push from the heel. Now if this is enough, keep both hands down and you're just going to pulse the heel working into the base of the glute. The whole time keeping the core lightly engaged. If you want to take this a little bit further, you could creep your left hand forwards and lift the left arm off the ground. So that now we're having to really work the core to keep steady as we take these little pulses. If we're in this variation, then we can reach back and grab the foot. If you find the foot, then press the foot into the hand to come into a little bit of a twist. This will open up the quad, the shoulders, and test the stability. Again, if this is too much, then we're just going to stay with this variation. Reaching forwards, coming out of that side, bring the hand down and bring the knee down. Taking a couple of cat-cows, so inhale, we're going to lift the chest, lift the hips and broaden the collarbones. As you exhale, press down into the hands, round the back, navel to spine, chin to chest, and curl the back. Inhale, arching the back, lift the hips, broaden the collarbones, look up. Exhale, pressing into the hands, rounding the back, navel to spine, chin to chest. One more, let the breath lead it. And exhale. Inhale, come into neutral. Let's take it to the other side. So left leg goes back. Take a couple of little rocks. The left leg lifts up off of the ground and bend the knee, keeping the sole of the foot facing towards the ceiling. So we don't want to let this happen. We're not going to try and turn the knee to the side. Keep everything squared off. Little pulses, perhaps here, or if you want to, with the arm reaching forwards. If we want to go for something in between, we could have the fingers down but reaching out. This helps us to connect a little bit more into the upper abdominals and the ribs. From there, if you went for the grab on the first side, see if you can go for it again. It doesn't matter if you don't find it. This is quite tricky to find this. Kick the foot back and up. Open the chest, heart goes forwards. And then release the foot. Lengthen everything out. Bringing the hand down and the knee down. Let's take again cat-cow. So lift the hips, lift the head. And exhale, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale into your cow pose. And exhale, round in the back into cat pose. Coming back to neutral, let's take the hands forwards, one hand span. So just taking them out a little bit in front, keeping the fingers really spread. Option to either have the middle finger facing forwards or a slight turn out, just a little bit, so that the V of the middle finger is facing forwards. Tucking the toes under, let's hover the knees off of the mat. Pull the hips up and back as you come back into downward facing dog. And we really want to focus in down dog here on getting the spine as straight as you can, rather than getting the legs straight. So I'd rather the knees were bent, the tailbone was high, and the back was long and straight, than we had straight legs. Once you've got the spine long, if it's available to straighten the legs a little or lower the heels a little, go ahead and do so, but not at the jeopardy of losing this length in the low back. From here, we'll start to tiptoe the feet forwards. Just little steps, pushing with your right foot to move the left foot, pushing with your left foot to move the right foot. And as you walk the feet in, keep the hands down if you can, but if not, it's okay to come onto your fingertips or to even bend your knees. Feet are going to come to hips width apart at the top of the mat. So you can have two fists to guide that. Look at the outside edge of the feet. Lift the chest, gazing pose to lengthen. As you exhale, bend your knees a little bit more, weight into the heels so you can lift your toes here and spread them. Reach the arms forwards and connect the fingers. Sit bones are reaching back, tone the lower belly here, drawing the ribs and then push down through the heels as you come up to stand. Coming into our earth sequence, I'm going to start in Tadasana, mountain pose. Feet are still hip width apart. Heels moving slightly away from one another. Have a little bend in your knees and try to get the floor of the pelvis to face towards the ground. Heels move a little bit out. Press down through the heels to straighten. Palms turn slightly forwards. On the inhale, bending the knees, reaching the seat backwards as the arms come up. As far as you can get them, we don't want the shoulders to shrug up, so if it feels better to keep them here for you, then stay with that. As you exhale, pressing the ground away, standing almost up to straight, heels moving away from one another. Bend your knees, inhale. Exhale, press the ground away. One more. Chair pose, reaching the sit bones back, cinching through the waist. Exhale, press the ground away. On the next one, we're going to dive forward, so keep the spine really long, and as you exhale, dive forwards, hands come to ground. If you need to use blocks here to place your hands on, or something, books, tins, anything, then you can. Keep the knees as bent as they need to be to get yourself towards the ground. Gazing pose, lift the chest. We can bring the hands to the shins and really pull in through the waist to support the spine, broadening the collarbones. Or keep the fingertips to the ground. As you exhale, fold and step back on the right leg. So one option here, if it feels a little bit wobbly, is to bring the knee down to the ground. And you would simply come up into Anjaneyasana here. And when we lean forward, just taking it a little bit forwards to this position. If you feel happy to be in a higher lunge, then we're going to inhale, arms reach. And as you exhale, lean it forwards halfway. Inhale, the arms reach. Nothing's changing in the legs, so whether you have the back knee down or not, doesn't matter. Exhale, lean forwards. One more, the arms reach up, inhale. Exhale. Keep that slight forward pitch, again, whether you're here or whether you're here. And then extend the arms alongside the ears. As you do that, draw the left hip back, cinch in through the waist and plug the shoulders down into the sockets. Should start to feel the base of the glute area now switching on. Keep hugging the hip backwards. One more breath. And exhale, bring the hands down, framing the front foot. Straighten the left leg as much as you can. So we use all of the heat that we've generated in the back of this left leg through the posterior chain. We use all of that heat to help to open up the hamstrings and the back of the glutes that we've just been working into, or the base of the glutes, sorry, that we've been working into. Bend in the front knee, look forwards. And step the back foot forwards. It's come just to fold over the legs again. So remember, the knees can bend as much as you like. Head drops. Lift the chest, gazing pose and lengthen. Exhale, connect the fingers. Push down through the heels. Let's just bring the hands into the heart, this little globe mudra. Second side, bend the knees, chair pose, inhale. And exhale, press the ground away. Keep moving the heels out and the inner thighs inwards and backwards. Bend the knees again, inhale. Exhale, press the ground away. What's happening with the relationship between the feet and the floor of the pelvis? As you push down through the corners of the feet, we should feel like the inner thighs are lifting and that the pelvic floor muscles are lifting into the core. Last one, bend the knees, inhale. As you exhale, hinge from the hips, hands come down. Gazing pose, lift the chest, inhale. Exhale to fold, step back on your left leg this time. Remember, you've still got those two options. Knee down if you feel a bit wobbly or if you're newer to yoga. If you feel okay in your high lunge, heel's gonna push back. Come up into your high lunge. Right hip now snuggles back, left hip forwards. Try to have the floor of the pelvis facing the ground when you start off here. Exhale, we're leaning forwards just a little. Creating a straight line from the head to the heel if you can. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, halfway forwards. Inhale, reach the arms up. And one more. This time as you lean forwards, hold it in that slight forward lean. Right hip keeps hugging back. Take the arms alongside the ears if you can. If this feels too much in the shoulders, you can always rest your hands onto your thigh. Elongate both sides of the waist. So we don't want to feel like we're compressing the right side. Draw the right hip back and make some space on the right side waist. On the next exhale, let's bring the hands down to the ground. Straighten out your right leg as much as you can. If you like, take your right thumb into your right hip and snuggle it back a little bit. That might feel like the stretch comes down the outside edge of the leg a little bit more towards the IT band. And hands gonna plant down to the ground. From here, let's step the front foot backwards, coming back into downward facing dog. Hips are going high. And on the next exhalation, bring the knees down to the mat. Knees wide, toes together, and we'll come back into child's pose. If it's available, rest your head down onto your hands or onto the mat. Just take a few breaths there. The whole aim of this sequence is for us to feel grounded. It works the feet, it works the legs, it works the parts of the body that literally hold us up. As you press the third eye or the brow point to your hands or to the ground. Sink into the earth. Sitting really tall, take the fingertips to the ground beside you. Inhaling, take the arms up. Let the hands find one another overhead. And as you draw the hands down through the midline, be aware of the seat, be aware of the foundation, the points that hold us up, that ground us, that connect us to the truest parts of ourselves. Namaste.